Welcome back, guys, to my YouTube channel. Now today we have the finale of Vagabond. I'm going to be finishing the last 30 or so chapters of the series. One of my top 5 favorite manga series I've ever read. I hope you guys have been enjoying this journey of me reading Vagabond now that I'm nearing its end. And just to recap a little bit, we've gone through obviously from the Honozen to the Yagyu to the Yoshiowa arcs to Sasaki Kojiro to all these great arcs so far. I just finished reading the Wandering arc, so now I can't wait to get into this new arc. I believe it's called the Farming arc. In a way, it still hasn't finished the story, so I'm curious if this is going to end on a cliffhanger or not. I know it's kind of on hiatus right now. I still want to see how the last 30 chapters end up for Musashi. I'm enjoying Musashi's journey so far, and to see all these interesting characters pop in and out of his story. And also seeing Sasaki Kojiro and how he's kind of taken up also a portion of Musashi's story, and seeing these two different roads and these two different journeys happen at the same time has been really cool. Hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts on the finale of Vagabond. So guys, I just finished reading the final 27 chapters of Vagabond. The Farming arc might be my 3rd or 4th favorite arc in the whole series. This journey has been a great one with Vagabond, and I can't wait to reread this down the line. I would like to, if not me personally, then eventually down the line I think a producer or director should definitely turn this into a TV series, or maybe even a movie. TV series would actually suit Vagabond better just for the sheer number of characters involved. I think seeing them come in and out of the picture would be really dope to see. Vagabond as a whole has a terrific protagonist and one of the best character arcs I've seen. The fact that it's not over yet still means that there's growth to be had. Character arcs shown in Vagabond make the story better, not only for it to progress with Musashi's story, but also having its own story and making its own message and theme of that particular character. In chapter 301, it was mainly about how the people of the Yoshioka clan are now starting to obviously be sent out and trying to gain Musashi's name and also just his title and kill him for revenge. Now he's on the road and has to survive the countless attacks that he's going to face in the future. Also got a little bit of his desire in terms of now he wants to somewhat pursue Otsu even more now that he's kind of reached the end of this road, and realizing that he kind of wants to settle down even for a little bit. The next topic/theme I want to talk about is fatherhood. This comes with the introduction of the character Iori, and I think I've kind of touched upon this a little bit before in my past videos, maybe about fatherhood and kind of his relationship with Jotaro, but in this case he's even stronger with Iori. I think I like Iori as a character more than Jotaro, even though we see him eventually down the line when a couple years have passed, and now he's obviously stronger and he's 15. Iori and Musashi was definitely a parent one, since Iori just recently lost his father. We see the relationship be similar with the Chain and Sickle arc with Baiken and Rindo, as we see with now Musashi and Iori. With Iori, I think we get like one of the best lines in the whole series, even though it's him remembering what his father told him. Chapter 310, page 22. I just wanted to recite this. Even if we're all the same, there are different kind of people that, even though they can't notice it, end up making up the miseries of others surface. That's why we try to drive them away. When we understand that we can't do that, we look down on them. We sneer at them and we estrange them, drawing a line. I think that's one of the best lines in the whole series, and it's obviously just coming from a kid, which was so surprising. Even Musashi points it out. That line says a lot about the series and obviously Musashi's relationships throughout the whole series, because the quote kind of stands for people that become jealous of others because they do so well in life. The relationship, how everyone wants to be like Musashi in the whole series, and even though there are weaker people that are obviously weaker than Musashi, they're always going to strive to be like him, and people are always going to try to tear down the person that's at the top. I think it also says something about something that I want to touch upon later, which is the speech that also Shusaku says to Musashi in terms of being weak and how people never look at the weak. And then we also get the image of Marahachi's story being told, even though he's so weak and he's kind of a coward in certain ways and he feels almost useless to the story. But it's obviously meant to be serving. Marahachi's story serves a bigger purpose. The story is supposed to be more of a message about someone that could either be drawn to certain things so badly that he loses himself with it. It's also to view Musashi as someone so much stronger than anyone else, and we get Marahachi's comparison and them being friends from the day one, from the get-go. One of the earliest scenes I saw was with Musashi and his fight against water and kind of his fight against nature throughout the whole arc. So in the early parts, I thought of Bruce Lee when he's always talking about how you should be like water, and we see Musashi kind of have this fight with the water, and also how the water represents Sasaki Kojiro, because we see that the water is supposed to be a symbol of freedom and always being one with yourself and kind of the flow of everything, which is why Musashi's battle with water was such a important image, because we saw that throughout the whole story is that Musashi is constantly with his battle with himself. Instead of just being more carefree like Sasaki Kojiro, he's always either too rigid at certain points, he's too stuck in his ways, not letting life take its course at times when maybe he should, because sometimes he gets lost in terms of killing too many people, and other times he's kind of flowing, he's using that flow willingly in order to kill those 70 people. Into the next arc and in the later chapters, we see Sasaki Kojiro and his journey and how he's kind of in this battle against how people want him to change and not be obviously one with themselves and kind of be more rigid and stuck to the path of the samurai. Sasaki Kojiro and how he became so strong was by being himself and being way more carefree than the people around him. The next topic I want to talk about is ego by winning, with Musashi in particular, because we saw in this glimpse of a moment in the arc how Musashi thought of all the times that he won throughout the course of his life was a symbol that he was just better than other people. Kind of like getting lost in your own ego in a way, because the bigger your ego gets and the stronger you become in this world of samurai and just wanting to be the best, you lose yourself because you just think about yourself all the time. And you're not really thinking about how others are being treated or how others' relationships affect you in a way. Inoue draws these images of the ego coming out of Musashi and how his identity as a swordsman and as a samurai is almost encompassing him, and he's trying to break out of that mindset at times, but sometimes it even overtakes him. The ego can make you become someone that other people hate, not just because of how good or how strong you are, but because of how you kind of separated yourself amongst the people and how that can be viewed as something negative. At first, I just labeled this character as like a samurai hater, Shusaku. The more we dove into this arc, I realized that he's become one of my favorite characters throughout the entire series, because he brings about so many great points towards Musashi and being in terms of weakness and how do people view weakness. He's another master that Musashi's obviously learning from, similar to Takuan in this moment, and all the other past masters in the series from Ine and the Yagi master. But Shusaku is teaching him about people view weakness and also about caring for other people outside of yourself, that life is not just about you, that there's different facets of life, not just striving for your own goal, but also trying to help others along the way. You might be begrudgingly doing it. Shusaku is ideally just trying to help people around him, even though he might make some funny comments about you. He might roast you for a little bit, but at the end of the day, I think he wants the best for the people around him. And he even noticed that within himself, that throughout his whole life, until Musashi comes, they kind of shared that similarity of just being to themselves. And over the course of the arc, we see how both of them have changed in terms of just being focused on themselves and then are trying to become better for the society as a whole. We see how much the other farmers and the whole community is suffering because of starvation, and we start to see how each character, each member of the community is starting to come together and try to help each other as much as possible so that they all don't die. If I could describe this arc in one word, it would be selfless, and to the point of not even realizing who you're helping out, just trying to do the best you can for the people around you and for the future in terms of Shusaku, because we obviously see him pass away towards the end. Also see Musashi's relationships with each of the members of the community, from Iori to then the other farmers around him, and seeing how they're struggling as well in terms of trying to plant the seeds of the rice field, and then eventually with the women who are also trying to learn how to fight and protect themselves for the future, to the point where Musashi eventually kind of goes on his knees and asks for help from the leader of the town. He asks for help and brings provisions to the rest of the community, and we see that as a glaring moment, as this is Musashi obviously not being stuck to his ego, and even when we see the image of the ego kind of trying to come out in that moment, but it's kind of showing a change of Musashi's character, of how now he's becoming a little bit less selfish and is obviously now becoming more selfless. The entire farming arc is based around community and not focusing not only on your own goals, and it's kind of a nice break to see how Musashi deals with and kind of tries to normalize himself within a community and not just being like a wanderer all the time and just following the way of the sword as much. Now my thoughts on like the final 5 chapters right after the farming arc. I think the story still has a good amount to go left. I don't think the story is over. I think Inoue, hopefully he comes back to Vagabond eventually. I want to see Sasaki Kojiro and Musashi reunite again and kind of meet again under new circumstances, and maybe if they fight, they fight. If they don't, they don't. And we also want to see how Matahachi kind of plays into this again. This discussion with Matahachi of kind of differences in religion with Christianity and Buddhism and how that's being viewed. So that's also an interesting part. Now we see Jotaro older now, and Otsu as well. If Musashi will ever get back to them, because he obviously wants to go back to Yagyu, to see how their interaction will be now that Jotaro is older and has obviously been practicing even more and more. Also, now that Iori is kind of going to be a new disciple, obviously, for Musashi, how's that going to interact with Jotaro? Are Iori and Jotaro going to interact? Are they going to become like best pals now? These have been my thoughts on the Vagabond series. Comment, like, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on my thoughts about the series and the future to come for this channel. I really enjoyed Vagabond so much. This is definitely one of my favorite manga series stories I've ever read. I definitely want to reread this in the future at some point. Hopefully, I think I would love to turn this into some sort of TV series down the line. And yeah, this is just one of my favorite series I've been a part of in a long time. Comment down below any recommendations you guys can think of. Like the video. Have a good one.